Brad Steele. Date is March 7th, 1974. Time is 11 p.m. I'm interviewing Ed Durham throughout Route 5, Box 547. When were you born?
October 3rd, 1903.
Okay. Where were you born?
Board Camp, Arkansas.
Where were you raised at?
I was raised mostly Board Camp, Arkansas, and Mena, Arkansas.
Okay. How long have you lived in Oklahoma?
Well, I've been in Oklahoma about 46 years. I came to Oklahoma in the year of 1928.
Where did you live during the Depression?
I live in Guthrie, Oklahoma, most of the time.
What was your occupation during the Depression?
Well, my occupation during the Depression was getting most any kind of work that I could do, but most of the time I worked on WPA, and here in Guthrie we were putting in, redoing the streets in Guthrie, and we redone Oklahoma Avenue, and this was all done by WPA work. And we done also Harrison Avenue. We taken up and relaid brick, taken out the rust spots where the bricks had sunk down, relaid them, and made the streets smooth as possible. We worked quite a while out on lakes, building, clearing land for a lake south of Guthrie. I also worked out on the farm quite a little bit for Mr. Ralph Farr out there, as we all know him pretty well here in Guthrie. And during the Depression here, we had to take up everything that we could get a hold of in order to get by. I remember one day, times were so hard that I was walking down the streets in Guthrie, up close to the high school building, and there I didn't have a penny in my pocket, and looked down, there was 50 cents laying on the sidewalk. And we didn't have nothing to eat in the house, so no lard or anything, so I'd taken this 50 cents and bought 5 or 10 pound of lard with this 50 cents during that time. Everything were cheap, and eggs were, I think, a nickel a dozen, so forth and so on. And things like that, you see, we had to go through hardships and things that people today don't realize just what we had to go through.
Where did you work before and after the Depression?
Well, before Depression, I worked with a pipeline construction company, and things got so hard that everything, construction work, shut down. And after that, I started to work for Mr. Benson and the farm as contractors here in Guthrie. And the first job we had was in Fort Smith, Arkansas, putting in a water system there in Fort Smith. So we started from there, trying to build back up and try to make best wages that we possibly can. At that time, we was drawing around 30 cents an hour, and we thought that was pretty good money then, which I guess it was. And times seemed to be picking up, getting a little bit better than what they had been. Same in the WPA was going out, and construction work had begun to pick up pretty good. Things began to show up quite a little bit around the work line, which we all appreciated. And we kept on going down up and up, and finally we went from job to job, and wages began to rise, and finally we got up to around 40 cents an hour, 50 cents an hour, and 60 cents an hour. And finally, as you know, wages kept on going up, and also did everything else. Groceries and everything else kept going up with them, and which we appreciated the everything that we could get, because the hardships that we just faced had left us in quite a hardship, and we were trying to recuperate over them. And it seemed like the work had begun to pick up until everybody had got kind of straightened up, and which we appreciated.
Where was your boot camp?
Our first boot camp, when we were drafted into the Army, they'd taken us to Fort Steele, Oklahoma. And there we stayed through around about 15 days, and we were sent to Fort Lewis, Washington. And there I was put in the what they call the auto mechanic work. And there they was training us to do this kind of work in order that they might ship us either across or up into Canada or Alaska. So they finally, when we were in Fort Lewis, they decided to send us on up into White Horse, Canada. That's where we first had a camp. But we went up the Alaskan Highway, and that's when the Alaskan Highway was first built. And there were no bridges when we went up on this road, and no paving or anything. And we went up in January, and there was snow and ice all over the ground, and we crossed these rivers on the ice. Ice was approximately 5 or 6 foot thick, and we could drive almost anything over it. We went up there with the truck convoy, and along on the roads, I remember very well, we had to stop overnight several places. And one place we stopped was they had to stop there to stay all night. The barracks wasn't completed, and it was snowing very heavily that night, and the windows weren't in the barracks, and so we had to go in and sleep in those barracks with our sleeping bags. And they had a big wood stove in there. Had some of these boys to stay up and keep that stove real hot, so we wouldn't freeze to death. The snow was blowing in through the windows in on our sleeping bags. So the next morning we got up, started on up into our camp. We got so far, excuse me, got so far up the road, while one of the boys seen the big elk cross the road, he stopped his truck, jumped out with his gun, and started to chase the elk. So the elk was just a little bit too fast for him. He got down in behind the bushes and the blackjacks and so forth and so on, and they lost him. So he came back, and we went on up the mountains, and finally we came into a camp in Whitehorse, and there we had quite a camp. And there we had, as we got to Whitehorse, we had about 600 trucks sitting on the sidelines, mostly all of them with clutches out. And these trucks were sitting there loaded with equipment ready to go to the front lines. And we had this certain length of time to get them out, and we had to work night and day in order to get those trucks fired up and getting them ready to go. So finally we got everything ready, and we got them all caught up. I think it's taken us about 6 or 8 weeks to get those 600 trucks out, with about, I guess about 30 or 40 of us working day and night. And we had just so much time, in order to get those trucks moving. And so when we got them moving, we had a little bit of spare time. And so we decided that we'd go out, when we got up to Whitehorse, we'd go out on the into the woods and do a little hunting for our own self. And so we had a little big dog, and this is a big white dog, or he's kind of a spotted dog. And we heard this dog treed, and so we thought, we didn't know what he had treed, but all to our surprise, we all made a run over there where this dog was, and he had a cub bear treed up this little old sapling. So a couple of boys got up there and got this little cub bear, and so we started back to camp with him. And first thing we know, here come the old bawling bear, just a roaring. We're all were in her, and she wanted her baby. So we had to hesitate in trying to shoot this bear, because we weren't supposed to shoot no bears at all. So we made this run with this cub bear and got him up to the camp. And so it wasn't but a few days till here come old Mama Bear up to the camp. And one of the boys had the back kitchen door open, and this old Mama Bear come marching up through the barracks, and she went all the way through the barracks looking for her baby. But they had this baby concealed and hid where she couldn't find it. So kind of scared all of us boys. We didn't know what she might try to attack us or something like that, and it scared us. So we decided we'd better turn this cub bear loose and let him go. So we turned the bear loose. And so the company commander had warned us very much about going out into the woods unless we taken our gun with us. They had big bunches of wolves up there, and those wolves went in packs, and they were deadly to human beings. They had killed several soldiers up there. They caught them unaware, and they told us if we ever went out and a pack of those wolves attacked us, for us to be sure to shoot one and draw blood on them, and then they would all of them jump on this one and eat him while we escaped. And so that was a very good lesson to us.
Do you have any kind of experience that you'd like to share?
What kind of experience did you mean?
Always something that you've done in your lifetime that
younger
It was
days.
exciting. Yes.
Yes, in our younger days, I can recall back when I was only 14 years of age down in Arkansas. Why, a great fishing country down there. And I'd always, we had a little creek run right down in front of our house, you know. And there, I'd go down there and I'd set my minnow trap down in that little creek. And we all like to fish. And so I'd keep my bait down there. I'd catch my bait down there in that little creek. I'd keep my minnow trap filled up with minnows. And all I'd have to do is go down there, you know, and get these minnows, put them in a bucket, and go to the river. So one night I went down to the river with my bucket of minnows. I was only 14 years of age. And Dad, he always had a boat down there. And so I put out my lot of lines and throw lines and tied them to swinging limbs and baited them with minnows. So the next morning I got up real early by myself, went down there, and I seen there on one of these limbs, it looked like a chunk floating on this limb. This limb was just going up and down real easy, you know. And I seen something with its head kind of sticking up out of the water on the line. I thought it was just a little chunk hung on the line, so I walked up down there, and it was one of these great big eels, what they call eels. I don't know whether you ever seen one or not, but they were little old slim fish, and this one weighed about 5 pounds, and he was 4 foot long, and he wrapped himself up on this line, you know, and so and they wrap themselves up and go round and round and round. He had his head sticking up out of the water about 4 or 5 inches. Well, I went down there and I'd taken him off the line, went on down a little further, and so I seen another limb shaking down there, so I went down there and to see what was on this line. And so I picked up this line and started to pull it into the boat. The water's around 10 or 12 foot deep. And so I began to pull, and there wasn't a thing that was shaking or jerking on the line at all. It just seemed like I had a great big old chunk hanging on the line, you know. And I began to pull and work with him, and pulled up trying to top of the water, and I seen what he was, this great big old catfish. And so I fooled around and I got him in the boat, taken and went on down and run the rest of my lines. And I had 2 more catfish down there. Both of them weighed about 5 pounds apiece. And went on down another line and had one on weighed about 3 pounds apiece, about 3 pounds. And so I decided that was about enough, about all I could carry back home. Well, it was just about a mile, you know, from the river. And I got these out of the boat and slung up over my shoulder, and I thought, boy, now I've done it now. And I tell you, I was the height of my glory right there, going down the road with about 40 or 50 pounds of fish stringing down my back. And so I got up, went home, and Dad's flying over in the field. And so I went over and told Dad what I'd done. I'd taken the plow, and I told Dad to go over there and go down to the house and clean them fish. And I told him I caught a very big one, weighed 30 pounds. All he says, you never done it. He says, you're just kidding me. I said, I did too. He said, you go up there and see what I caught. And so he went to the house. So we had fish there for quite a while. So we lived way out on the farm. We didn't have much, no way to keep them. We didn't have no ice or no refrigerator or anything, you know. And so we gave all our neighbors fish, everybody around there, a big mess of fish, and then we had fish to throw away. And so that's about the biggest time that I ever had in my life.
Did you play any kind of sports?
Yes, I used to play, when I was a kid, I used to play baseball a lot. And I was going to school, and we had a team down at board camp, and I was about 15 years old, and I made that team down in board count got on the main team, and we played games all over the county, and that was my main sport, was baseball. And so I played up till I got into one of the regular league teams, and the main team there in our county, and as high up as I ever got. But I like baseball best of all of any sports that I know of, and I like football too, because I never did play football, but I certainly do like to watch a good game.
What is your opinion of Oklahoma today and yesterday?
Well, my opinion of Oklahoma today would be, what do you mean, the changes and so forth and so on?
Yes.
I see the big change in Oklahoma today. It is all for the better, to my notion. I don't believe that we could live in any better state than what we live in now. We find our little town of Guthrie. Lots of people today goes off to Oklahoma City, and to Edmond and so forth to do their trading. And biggest part of us like to get everything as cheap as what we possibly can. And I think Oklahoma today, as far as Oklahoma is concerned, has come a long ways, but yet I think we've got a long ways yet to go to reach its goal. And just what the goal is to reach is kind of hard to tell.
Brad Steele interviewing Ed Durham. Time 11:25. Thank you.